Prince Harry's ongoing descent into total madness has continued overnight because he is now accusing Buckingham Palace of sabotage, of wanting to kill him because they made clear he has been offered totally safe accommodation in the totally safe Buckingham Palace.
Prince Harry has been reportedly reduced to tears as a result of being denied armed royal protection in the UK on his visit next week.
It's almost disturbing, this soap opera we're being subjected to with these two.
On Friday, the plan was set. The itinerary went round in black and white. The dates, the flights, the promise that after 4 long years apart, King Charles would finally sit in a room with his grandchildren again. By Saturday, before the ink was dry, Harry had torn the whole thing up. No grandchildren, no reunion, nothing.
As soon as he finds that out, he breaks his father's heart by saying, "See your grandchildren after all." What a despicably cruel thing to do to the king.
And the reason was not a family row or a change of heart. It was that he did not get the one thing he had come home for: armed police guards on the British taxpayers' bill.
This is the height of insanity. The madman, and I really do mean that, his own security report, which he had previously submitted to the government to try and get you, to try and get me, British taxpayers, to spend millions and millions of pounds a year to ensure that he has armed guards wherever he goes in the world.
Sit with that for a second, because it is uglier than it first sounds. A father built his own dad's hopes up with a picture no grandfather could resist, then snatched it away the moment the answer on security came back as no. The commentators watching this unfold have a word for it, and it is not a kind one.
As we well know, gruesome twosome, that couple are capable of really behaving in a deplorable manner. They do it time and time again. We all know what we're talking about. But if this turns out to be the truth, they've gone too far this time.
That is where we are. So let us walk through it, thread by thread, because every single knot in this story ties back to the same thing. Harry and Meghan want to be treated like royalty, protected like royalty, and paid for like royalty, right up until the second the crown asks anything of them in return. 4 separate acts of breathtaking hypocrisy in 1 week. Let us take them one at a time.
Duke of Sussex, when he comes to host the Invictus Games, could be a serious target, and that could create a mass casualty event. This is a private security firm saying that. In other words, if Harry comes, there'll be a possibility casualty event if he's the subject of a attack.
Start with the paperwork, because it is a beauty. Harry's own team commissioned a 40-page risk assessment, 40 pages. And that report, leaked with impressive convenience to a friendly telly reporter, claims that if Harry sets foot in Britain, he could be the target of 6 terror plots, and that his appearance could trigger what the document actually calls a mass casualty event.
And he's given this to the government to say, well, there you go, you've got to give me armed guards. I would say, if that's true, don't come. Don't put other people at risk, just don't come. This is getting ridiculous, Kinsey.
Now stop and think about what he has just done. To scare the government into giving him guards, he has stood on the rooftop.
But to outline these threats in a document like this, intended to be privately received by the British government, only to leak it to a UK media organisation when you claim you hate the media. I mean, it's truly nuts. It's almost like he's just saying, attack me so that I can get my security paid for.
And announce to every unstable soul on earth that he is a target, that his security is thin, and that his children are exposed.
And the nutty thing about this is he is literally saying, I'm a target. Come and attack me. Come and attack my children. This is honestly the most insane own goal I have ever seen in royal history.
If you genuinely believed your family was in that much danger, the last thing on this green earth you would do is broadcast it. The commentators clocked this in about 4 seconds flat.
And let me just be honest, ain't vulnerable because of some made-up security threat. His children are vulnerable because of him, because of the way that he is transferring his very deep and imbued trauma into them.
Here's the detail that turns the whole thing to ash. On the Friday, the Sussex office sent round a full confirmed itinerary. Family coming, residents accepted, the lot. On the Saturday, all of it was suddenly wrong and the meltdown was on. Nothing happened in between. No new threat, no new intelligence. One royal watcher put the obvious question on the table.
You deliberately misled people just a week ago, and you are making pretty radical claims. Because I'm sorry, but you serving in Afghanistan like well over a decade ago with a minimal service record. I'm sorry, but why are people so focused on you? Yes, you're a famous person, but I just think that Al-Qaeda has bigger fish to fry. And that's the thing, because Harry lied a week ago.
And this is a man who wrote a best-selling memoir boasting about his tours of Afghanistan, then turned around and asked why anyone might see him as a target.
As Richard Eden of the Daily Mail put it, if this is the case, wouldn't it have been wise for Harry not to have boasted in his memoirs about how many Afghans he had
who spent most of his time in a bunker playing video games? Like, let's be real here. And again, it goes back to Harry overly inflating his own ego when it comes to his military service.
He has now compared himself, out loud, to Salman Rushdie. Salman Rushdie, who lived under a genuine death sentence for decades and lost an eye to a real attacker on a real stage.
And I did a whole video, if you want to watch it, I'll link it here, comparing Harry to Salman Rushdie, who has had actual multiple attempts made on his life, including one where he lost one of his eyes and part of the use of one of his arms. There have been multiple attacks. There's a fatwa against him by the Ayatollah. He has been targeted for the last 30 plus years, almost getting to 40 years now. Numerous translators were also targeted for potential assassinations. This was more in the 80s and 90s, so some of that has calmed down. 30 plus years after the initial fatwa, there are still people who want to kill him. And there's actually a price on his head. We have not heard any of that from Prince Harry.
The gap between those two situations is roughly the width of the Atlantic, which is fitting because that is exactly how far Harry has to reach to sell it. One American host was blunter than the rest.
Prince Harry continues to confirm my assessment that he and his team have the collective intelligence of a kumquat, as Prince Harry is trying to strong-arm the British government yet again, even though they have told him no numerous times that he is the plot.
And this is not the first time the theater of danger has been wheeled out. Cast your mind back to that so-called near-catastrophic car chase through New York, the 2-hour ordeal that the police, the mayor, and even the cab driver quietly took apart afterwards. When his team leaned on the New York force, the answer that came back was a polite version of nice try.
The mayor at the time, Eric Adams, came out and said, well, that's ludicrous. And NYPD was like, this is not even remotely close to the truth. And so Harry's team was emailing the NYPD, trying to strong arm them, saying, you know, don't make us get Governor Gavin Newsom involved of the state of California. And the NYPD was like, nice try. This isn't working.
He pays a reported $3 million a year for private security in California, a bill 2 Hollywood careers were meant to cover and no longer do.
They want to use the visit in order to stop having to pay. Because here's the thing, they're in financial dire straits. And we know that their annual security bill, Rafe, is $3 million a year. They can't afford to keep paying it. Do you see what I'm saying? So that's why they want to force the British government to give it so they can stop paying it.
Meanwhile, Harry Styles jogs across London to sing for 90,000 people with nothing of the sort. And Taylor Swift was only given armed protection after a genuine documented plot.
Harry Styles is jogging across London to perform in front of 90,000 women without armed guards. Taylor Swift did receive armed guards because there was a legitimate threat.
Somehow the spare, who spends most of his life behind a Montecito gate, needs more cover than all of them combined.
She's just been the subject of a genuine attack, so, you know, that's understandable. The fact is, Kinsey, you know this, Ravik is the panel in judgment on matters of royal security, who gets what. The only 4 members of the royal family that get full police armed protection are the King, Prince William, and Princess of Wales Catherine.
The point is not whether Harry has any risk in his life. Every public figure carries some. The point is that he manufactured a 40-page emergency, waved it at his cancer-stricken father, and expected the whole machinery of the British state to jump. That is not fear. That is leverage wearing fear's coat.
My message to Harry and his team of kumquats, because they all have the collective intelligence of a kumquat, and now Meghan is wrapped up in this as well. When you marry an idiot, guess what? You look like an idiot too.
Which brings us to the part that should genuinely turn your stomach. The children. For 5 years, this couple has built an entire brand on one holy word: privacy. They left the country for privacy. They sued newspapers for privacy. They lectured the world about a child's right to grow up unseen. Harry has said more times than anyone can count that protecting his children is the reason for everything he has done. So explain this. The moment he wanted to squeeze his father over guards, those same fiercely protected children were suddenly available, put on a plane, dangled in front of the king as the prize, used in plain sight as the emotional deposit on a security demand.
She says he either has no intentions of bringing Archie and Lily and has just used them to pressure Ravik and to emotionally blackmail his father by lying, or he knows deep down that there is no major threat and he's still using the children to get what he wants.
I think the children were thrown in at the last minute because we didn't hear about the children coming. Harry was coming, and then it was, a couple of weeks before they were due to come out. If he knows he has to give 30 days notice, he only gave a few weeks notice for the children. I think he used the children as a bit of extra leeway to put the pressure on.
The privacy crusade folds the instant the kids become useful. He fought for their privacy in a press release, and he will spend it in a heartbeat the moment there is something to be won.
But Harry continues to show us that he's not evolved, he's not matured, and that he remains a very bitter, vengeful, and paranoid individual.
The whole thing's full of hypocrisy since the moment he left on the Freedom Flight. That was the worst thing. Freedom Flight. My goodness me. And then the privacy issue, what he does with the children, these secret the shots from the back view and all this stuff. But we must protect juniors and children's privacy on social media. Yet they're using them as a vehicle and always seems to be as a counterpoint to what the royal family have done.
And it gets worse because of where the reporting says he wanted to take them. There is a claim doing the rounds that the plan included bringing the children to Diana's resting place at Althorpe, a spot they have never visited, potentially with cameras rolling for another Netflix production.
The Sun reporting that Harry wants to take Archie and Lily to Princess Diana's grave during the visit. Diana buried on a private island at Althorpe. And while Harry has visited over the years and reportedly brought Meghan there, in 2022, the children have never been. It's obviously an emotional headline, Rupert, but it's also another reminder that nearly every Sussex story seems to blend a deeply personal moment with a very public rollout. Whether that visit actually happens, we don't know. We should have never heard about it before it happened. And we're hearing about it because they wanted us to. And these kids are so small. They're not going to understand what's going on. It's too soon to introduce them to something so morbid, in my opinion.
If we see photographs of it, then that would be absolutely despicable.
Vile.
Vile, and we don't need to see it. That's a private thing for the family.
Turning the most private corner of the family's grief into content. If that is true, and the royal correspondents who cover this beat are disgusted by the very idea, then there is no privacy principle here at all. There is only the camera and what the camera can be worth. And the mechanism behind it is colder than most people realize. The reporting lays out the calculation like a chess move. Let the king fall for the grandchildren, and a doting grandfather might be moved to lean on his own government for the guards.
Harry, he thought that if he could set up this meeting between his kids, Archie and Lilibet, and the king, that the security he demanded, or he's been demanding now for a couple of years, would suddenly fall into place. He'd get that automatic armed police protection he's always demanded, and everything would be hunky-dory.
The ultimate objective being that once King Charles steps in and gives him that, then internationally he receives response security-wise based on the UK's reaction.
Get the protection reinstated in Britain, and the cover in America and everywhere else would quietly follow the lead. The children were never the point of the trip. They were the lever, and that is precisely why the offer of them could be yanked back in a single afternoon, the moment the lever stopped turning. Hold the two ideas side by side. The UK is so dangerous that Harry needs a motorcade and armed officers, and the UK is somewhere he is happy to fly his two small children into for a photo opportunity. Both of those cannot be true at once. One of them is a performance. You already know which.
But Rupert, if Harry's position is that the UK is unsafe without the protection he's requested, can he realistically reverse course without raising questions about hypocrisy, consistency? Like, will he look like a joke if Meghan and the kids do come, because we've seen that he's been formally rejected?
Because here's the fact that quietly collapses the entire security story. Meghan travels the world already, and she does it without any of this pantomime. Colombia, Nigeria, Chicago. She has flown to all of them, waved at cameras, worked the room, and come home.
Has still not decided whether to bring his family to his home country, which he considers is unsafe. She had absolutely no problem, P. Dina, traveling to Chicago on her own, going to Colombia, going to Nigeria. I think Meghan knows there's absolutely no genuine threat here, but she doesn't want to be embarrassed, so it's much better playing into Harry's paranoia. And this is something that we've seen throughout their relationship.
It was totally safe for them to go to Colombia, but it is also totally safe to go to London. You just have to not go to unsafe parts of the place you're going to.
With none of the armed convoy drama, we are told is a matter of life and death in the one country where her husband happens to have family. The danger, funny enough, only becomes unbearable at the precise address where the crowds might be thin and the welcome might be cold.
We've just had in the last few days the Princess of Wales popping up on a three-peak challenge without having, which obviously is a very highly risky place to be, open to everybody, not a very easy place if you had knowledge of that, where you could go and strike there. So we have members of the royal family quite clearly. She was just recently outside of the royal box at Wimbledon, going to other places as well, which we may discuss later. Other members of the royal family are willing to take more risks with their lives. They are outside of the royal family.
If you have a big issue with your security, you don't release operational notes. Taylor Swift doesn't release operational notes announcing to every single person in the media where she's going to be.
As one veteran commentator put it, the real fear here was never a threat to life.
He told New Magazine, the Sussexes are pragmatic, they're not stupid. I think their biggest fear won't be them being booed at by the crowds, it's them not having any crowds and being ignored, not drawing people to whatever they're doing publicly. That's what they'll be really frightened of. And
think about what that really means. The same man who tells us the streets are too dangerous to walk also complained on his last visit home that without a proper motorcade, he was late to every single engagement.
Harry's crying because he's not going to have helicopters and blue lights and police outriders, and he's not going to have the army tank and vehicles in front of him and 11 vehicles behind him because he thinks he's some kind of global leader or thinks he's the president of the United States. Get over yourself, Harry.
Not frightened, late, inconvenienced. A genuine threat to your life does not keep an eye on your appointment book, but a bruised ego watches the clock like a hawk. He wants to be waved through London, like a former prime minister protected for life, when even a prime minister who lasted 49 days gets that cover by holding the office. Harry gave the office back.
He wants to be treated like a former prime minister who will receive security rights. So even Liz Truss, she was prime minister for six weeks, she receives security for the rest of her life. He believes that that's what he deserves.
And then, as if to sign the whole thing, came the honey. Now, tread gently here, because the contrast is the entire point. The Princess of Wales, who has walked her own hard road back to health this year, released a genuinely moving film. She had completed a 23-mile trek across the national three peaks to raise money for the hospital that cared for her. It was dignified, it was quiet, and it moved people. And within minutes of that landing, Meghan dropped a cheerful little advert for her lavender honey. Buy my stuff.
Meghan, by the way, in the middle of all this, has not missed an opportunity to advertise the fact that, drumroll, there's some lavender honey that will be available on her As Ever online store. That's good to know, isn't it?
The princess is emotional, just on the verge of tears, discussing how she's doing this to raise funds for the hospital that saved her life. And then Meghan's like, surprise, buy my stuff. I mean, it's just read the room. She can never let the Princess of Wales have a moment.
The timing was so tone deaf that even her defenders winced. Read the room. 2 words that could be embroidered on a cushion in Montecito. Because this is the pattern under everything. The empathy is for the camera, the charity is for the brand. And the moment a real woman has a real moment of grace, the instinct is not to step back and let her have it. The instinct is to sell honey over the top of it. So let us name the thing directly, because a biographer who has spent his career inside this world already has.
I think people's patience absolutely has run out with her and him. I think the hypocrisy of those two is off the scale. When you talk about privacy and a lack of press intrusion, and then you sell your story to anybody and everybody, starting with Spotify, Oprah Winfrey, the list is extraordinarily long, you lose any credence of respectability.
Off the scale, that is the phrase. And once you see it, you cannot unsee it. These are two people who demanded total privacy, then sold every private thing they own. The Oprah sit-down, the Spotify deal, the Netflix cameras in the kitchen. They monetized the wedding, the pregnancy, the therapy, the family rift, the grief.
She's been very ghastly to him as well, and treats him like a sort of a slave, really. You know, if she's coming out of, if he's talking to someone, she taps him on the back and he's got to go. I mean, she just doesn't treat him like most people. She doesn't want him to be in England, and I think maybe she's just being naughty or difficult so that he doesn't go in the end, because she wants him, not because she adores him and thinks he's so wonderful, but actually that she can tell him what to do, and his name gives her more ability to earn money.
They turned around and called the institution cold and unfeeling, and then wanted their children photographed inside it the second it suited the brand.
I find it astonishing that she will say, Andrew, well, I think it's important to go over and meet your granddad. I thought you thought the royal family were racist, love. I don't know why you even want your children associated with something you hate so much.
And here's the part where I lose patience with the whole act. Look at what the king actually offered. Charles, in the middle of his own treatment, opened the door to Buckingham Palace itself, not a spare room. The palace.
They invited Harry to stay at a royal residence to even respond to let them know whether or not he's staying. It's not a Holiday Inn, you know? It's not a best.
It's Buckingham Palace is where he'll probably
They need
stay.
to know exactly if and when you're coming so that they can prepare. It's utterly disrespectful.
The most secure royal residence in the country, guards and all, a father reaching out. And the reporting is that Harry could not even be bothered to reply and was overheard saying he would rather stay at Soho House.
When you inform the royal family that you're coming, the king always says, well, here are some options for you to stay. Yeah. It's my understanding that Harry says, no thanks, I'll be at Soho House.
You want protection so badly, you will terrify your own children on paper to get it, but you will turn your nose up at the safest building in Britain because it does not come with the blue lights and the cavalcade you think you are owed. A former royal protection officer, a man who actually guarded Diana, called the whole thing exactly what it is.
So according to Ken Worf, what he's saying is this is a nothing burger, it's a non-story. He told me, as I revealed on the show the other day, but I'm naming Ken. Ken said Harry wants exactly what Katie Nicholl's, the cavalcade of cars, like he's the Pope. The photo op, that's why he's coming.
And when the guards still did not come, the story mutated into something stranger again. Harry now reportedly believes the palace deliberately leaked that accommodation offer to sabotage him, and that his own brother's staff sit on the very committee that blocks his protection.
He is now accusing Buckingham Palace, wait for it, of sabotage, of wanting to kill him because they made clear he has been offered totally safe accommodation in the totally safe Buckingham Palace. But it's not his father, of course it's not King Charles directly, but it's his courtiers who are all part of this sabotage plan, and they want Harry dead. Not only that, but he's the new Salman Rushdie.
As though the family were quietly plotting against his safety. Yet the court papers from his own legal battle showed the exact opposite. Members of the royal household actually argued that he should keep his police cover.
And there were certain things that came out in the paperwork which suggested that actually certain members of the royal household actively argued and advocated for Harry to get a police team, contrary to Harry's belief that they were secretly against him and plotting against him.
So here is a man asking to reconcile with the very people he is accusing of engineering his downfall. You cannot embrace someone and pat them down for a knife at the same time. The timing of his image could hardly be worse either. In the same stretch, his old friend James Corden lined him up for a World Cup television spot, a segment that cheerfully ranked Harry Potter and Harry Styles above the actual prince. And Corden, the supposed pal, did not lift a finger to defend him. Bullies always flocked together, sniffed the Sussex loyalists, and the irony did not so much fly over their heads as book itself a first-class seat.
Harry Meghan's spare responded, of course, Harry's on James Corden's new TV show, Bullies Always Flock Together, so it's a perfect match.
He does not want security. He wants the spectacle of security. He wants the motorcade, the outriders, the theater of a man too important to touch. He asked to be treated like a former prime minister, protected for life, when the honest truth is, that only 4 working royals carry that armed protection, and every one of them earns it by turning up week in and week out and doing the job he walked away from. The wheels have not just come off the Sussex carriage, they are rolling down the hill into Montecito, and he is still inside it shouting for a police escort. So what is this really about? Strip away the 40 pages and the leaked report and the tears, and you are left with one very old story. A man who wants the rewards of a family he publicly trashed and the protection of an institution he publicly bled for cash. The palace insiders, the ones who actually sit near this, have reportedly landed on a verdict of their own.
This is a palace. It's a total joke. They are totally playing into the hands of those who say they court drama to sell Meghan's jab. For the sake of family harmony, the palace would have been perfectly happy with a peaceful and low-key visit, yet once again, they turned it into a soap opera. It is tiresome.
And it is savage in its simplicity, a total joke and a farce. Drama manufactured to sell Meghan's jam. That is not me being cruel, that is the read from inside the building. And the saddest line in this entire saga did not come from a critic at all. It came from the American host who pointed out that the king does not miss this version of his son because he no longer recognizes him.
I don't mean this in a cruel way, but the king doesn't miss Prince Harry. The king does not recognize this. You know, the king is not going to bend over backwards because he doesn't even know who this new person is that has developed over the last few years, capable of writing such a hateful book.
4 years of this, the lawsuits, the leaks, the interviews, the accusations, and now the grandchildren used as chips on the table. Somewhere under all of it is a boy who lost his mother and never found his footing. But sympathy is not a blank check, and it is certainly not an armed one.
This is to show the king up very badly. He's keeping on trying, and the poor little baby is crying. For goodness sake, he's a big man and he knows what to do, and he just makes people feel sorry for him. It's this sort of poor Harry day. I mean, take no notice.
And Tina Brown, as we reported on yesterday's show, another brilliant journalist, described Harry as delusional for thinking.
Charles offered him the palace. Harry offered his father a broken promise and a press release.
Nicholl reports that while King Charles has offered the family a suite of rooms at a royal residence believed to be Buckingham Palace where they would be completely secure, the Sussexes who were planning to travel around the country have been told they will not receive full police protection.
And if the grandchildren never do get to meet their grandfather this summer, remember who built up the hope.
We've covered some low points when it comes to Harry and Meghan, but if the king doesn't get to see his grandkids after this build-up, then this is the lowest of the low.
Meghan will absolutely only come if she's got, you know, loads of people looking after her and all that sort of stuff. Don't come, Meghan. Not many people want you.
And remember who tore it down. Here is my question for you, and I want your honest verdict below. Was this a genuine security fear or the most calculated bit of emotional blackmail this family has seen yet? Tell me straight. I read every single one. Hit that like button if you are tired of watching two people treat a king's heartbreak like a marketing calendar. It genuinely helps this channel reach more people who care about these stories. And subscribe because there is a great deal more coming this week. The next chapter ships in a few days, and it is all about what really happened inside that leaked report, and the 3 names in it the Sussex camp are praying you never look up. You will want to be here. This is Star Spotlight, where the crown keeps its secrets, and we keep reading the receipts.